Hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Shashank. I'm a data analyst, and I do this live stream every Thursday morning and Friday evenings US time. And this is a live stream where I basically explain to you how to become a data analyst and answer any questions that you might have about the process. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit. Ooh, I forgot to get my free coffee. We are live. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So for anyone that isn't aware, I actually moved to Seattle last week. So I got my own apartment and everything. And as you can see, I have my own microphone now. So hopefully the audio is clear enough for everyone to hear. And the audio should be better in my videos from now on just because I have an actual microphone now. Excuse me. All right. So let us see what we have. Thank you. All right, Ishan. Hello. Simpaway, Za, hi from South Africa. Hello, Regard. So this is actually a lot earlier for me because I'm on Pacific time right now. These live streams now take place at, 8 a.m., but I had to do today I had to do it at 7 o'clock because I have a meeting with a potential channel sponsor at, excuse me, at 8 o'clock. Wow. All right, so hey Shashank, hope you're having a good week. I'm going over adding columns to a data frame in Python. That's what the textbook says, but I'm really lost on what it's actually doing. Can you walk through why this adds columns and maybe a demo on how this is working? So 098 saw, which textbook are you talking about? Basket case. So Shashank, what are the essential projects or other elements that should be on a resume of someone with zero work experience? And by the way, how do you get free coffee? Okay, the microphone is good. Awesome. I'm really glad. I got like a mid-price, or no, I wouldn't say mid-price, but like a lower price microphone. So I was hoping that it would be good because I know that anyway, the quality of the stream gets like crushed whenever, you stream it anyway. So I didn't see the point to getting one of those very expensive Shure microphones. So hopefully this is good enough. Sorry, I was going through a course on data camp. Okay, so let's see. Let me see if I can... Let's see what we can do here. Let me see if I have a script I can just pull up. Okay, so let's try this. So this is answering the question posed by 098 saw over here. What happens when you're actually like adding a column? The problem is I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but I can try and emulate it. So let's go ahead and make a data frame. Excuse me. So for we're using Python right now, and the first thing you need to do is you need to import pandas, which stands for panel datas. And usually you just import it as PD. That way you can call just using PD instead of typing pandas out all the time. And then we just do PD dot, we'll create a new data frame called test equals PD dot data frame. And then you can do something like this. Let's see, column one, come on, column 1, and then have 3 values, column 2, whoops, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then column 3, and then have it have 1, 2, 3 values. And then, so we've created our data frame over here, right? And then whenever you want to add a new column, usually what you do, so first of all, let's kind of dissect this, right? So what is a data frame? A data frame is a table, basically. You have your index row over here, your indices, which don't always have to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't have to be there. They can literally be anything. I think I can even specify that in this section over here. Let's see if I can format this cell. Okay. There we go. And so what happens is each of these is a column, correct? And say you want to reference one column, right? So say I only want to bring up column 1, right? And one thing to remember is that a data frame is composed of these things called series. And basically a series is just a one column data frame. And if you want to like get one of these columns, right? So let's say I want to get all the values out of column 2. Then one way I could do that is I could do test column 2. That's called dot notation, I think. But what I like to do actually is I like to use brackets, because a lot of the times my columns will have spaces inside them, and this allows me to use double quotes in order to get it. So this is basically pulling out the series named column 2 with the data type int64, basically meaning it's an integer, right? And so if I wanted to add a new column, then I could define a new series inside the test data frame, right? So I could say test column, I think this would be column 4. And then I would say it equals A, B, C. And then if I show test again, you'll see we've added a column 4 over there. So that's how you add a column using pandas. So as far as 098 saw, I'm wondering if that's answering your questions. Okay, lab, row in bricks, iter row, bricks.log. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, wait, so let's see what they have over here. I actually don't use iter rows all that much, so I might have to look up what that actually does. So .loc basically, this is going to the row named column, the row named lab. So you know how we have these indices over here, 0, 1, 2. They can also be named different things. Like it could be named lab, I think. So I think I can even specify an index over here. Whoops. So much stuff on the screen right now. Yeah, index equals labs test hello. And yeah, you see we now that index now equals labs, right? So what this is saying is go to the index named lab in the column named length, and that equals the length of the column country in the data frame called row. And then bricks.iterows, that's interesting. I don't use iterows all that much. So I know that usually that just is used to like go through rows one by one. So let's see. Yeah. So basically they're just going over a data frame row one by one. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. Let me know if you want me to give a better explanation of that. But yeah, that's kind of like basically what they were doing. All right, let's see. Basket case. Hello, Shashank. What are the essential projects or other elements that should be on a resume of someone with 0 work experience? And by the way, how do you get free coffee? Okay, so I'll answer the second question first. So I moved to this new apartment complex, and one of the perks that they have is that they give residents free drip coffee from the cafe downstairs. I was actually gonna go buy like a nice coffee machine, but you know, I mean, if they're making it for free, then I guess I don't have to do that. So, yep. Okay, so what are the essential projects? So, essential projects, it really, at the end of the day, what I always tell people is that you should do projects that you're interested in. Find a subject matter that you particularly like and do a project on that. Your passion will show through in the project itself. I think that if you don't know where to start, then find some data set on something you're interested in. For me, it's always been cars. I'm always into cars, right? So I could go to the NHTSA's website, National Highway Transportation Security Administration's website, get crash data for cars or for different manufacturers, and then plot out or visualize how the value of how different manufacturers have like different like rates of crash tests or something like that, or rates of crash or something like that, So I think if you don't know where to go, start off with a visualization and then start asking yourself like, just logical questions like, why does this manufacturer have more than, the other one? Why does this one have less? Stuff like that. Please review the Google course. So I've always said that the Google course is a great course. I just wish they taught it in Python instead of R. I'm very much a Python guy. And the reason that I suggest that people go and do Python instead of R if they have no idea what they want to do is because in case you don't like the world of analytics, you can take your Python knowledge and maybe go do a software engineering job or something with it. It's different from R, where R's really only application is in data science and academia. As far as I'm aware, really, Python is more widely applicable, which is why I recommend it. FitShake, I recently got a job as a software engineer. Congratulations. I'm a data analyst and my programming knowledge is limited to the role of a data analyst. Got 12 days to learn everything before I start my job. Hey, well, there you go. Nothing better than a pressure cooker to, give you the incentive to learn faster. Congratulations. Stats Daddy is telling us that we should focus on R. R is a great language. R is a tremendous language. If you have a good reason to learn it, I think that you definitely should. And the whole Python thing is very much just my opinion on the matter. I would not call it at all like, oh yes, this is what you need to be doing. So yeah, I mean, if you feel that R is better for your usages, then you should go do that. I'm saying for people that have no idea whether they should learn R or Python, I personally recommend Python. Milan van Hostenberg, are there a lot of growth opportunities if you started as a data analyst? I believe so. Depends on the company, right? I was working at a company once before that just didn't like value analytics as much as the company I work for now does. And so I would say in this company, there are significantly more growth opportunities than there were in my previous company. So I would say yes, but that is also very dependent on the company that you work for. Wei Hang, great to see you. Hi, Shashank. I'm building a user lifecycle dashboard for my company, and I'm stuck at how to extract monthly inactive customers, never purchased 6 months, from the transactions data set in SQL. Okay, so this is a similar problem to something that I've done. So this is similar to what I've done for some of my consulting clients. One of my clients has a software product, and excuse me, and if someone hasn't used it in the last like 7 days, oh hey DYDX, great to see you. Oh hey, what's up Mido? Great to see you again. So yes, if someone hasn't used their product, and I think it was like we agreed on 7 days, we consider them an inactive customer. So I'm trying to see how I could explain this best. So here's how I would do it if I were you, Wei Hung. So let's say you have a data set, right? And the data set is formatted, let's see, customer, oh, no, wait, okay, let's change it to Markdown. Customer, transaction amount, date, okay? Let's say those are your three basic columns, right? So we'll call this oh, where'd you go? Ah, there we go. Okay, so there's your table, right? Oh, I forgot Markdown needs that. So that's your table, right? So then what I would do if I were you is I would write a SQL query similar to this. And then let's change this to SQL. So select, let's say, customer and date, and then max, and we're going to be using I believe it's called a window function, max date over partition by date as date from Wei Hung's table where date equals, and then depending on which SQL version or which like system you're using, you may or may not have to write it like that. And basically what this is doing is that you're pulling the customer information, you're pulling the date information, and then you're getting the maximum date. So on every single row, you're getting the maximum date this should be customer. You're getting the maximum date by every customer. So for every customer, it's going through the entire table, finding the maximum date, and then putting that on every single row for the constituent customer and calling that new column max date. And now what you're doing is you're only finding the one date that equals a maximum date per customer. And now what you can do is you have a list of every customer and their max date. Oh, you know what? No, you don't even need to do it that way. Oh, you don't even have to do it that way. Or you could just do it this way, literally. Sorry, I was way overcomplicating that. Yeah, that was way overcomplicated. And then just group by customer. And then let's see, you needed to find monthly inactive customers. Wait, where'd your question go? Okay, I probably should have read this more closely. You need to extract monthly inactive customers. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to create a column called month. So what that would be, usually use something called a date trunk function, and it'll be like your date column, and then you specify like month. It depends on what like version of SQL you're using, but the function will usually be called date trunk, and then we'll call this as month. So you're getting the customer information. You're creating a column for every single month. You want to find the number of inactive customers in that month for each rolling month. So in that case, actually, this is where you might want to use this function I created over here. So what this will do, and let's see if I can format this. I can't, okay. So what this will do is on every single row, it'll put in the maximum date for a given customer for a given month. Or what you could probably still do it like this. Do max date like that as max date, group by customer, and then group by this. And then for every customer, you get the maximum. No, but no, that wouldn't do it. That's a really interesting problem, actually. So let's come back to this. Yeah, because what you could have a customer that like didn't buy anything in the 6 months prior to May, and they're inactive for that month, but then they buy something in June. So you have to take that into account. Ooh, okay. Yeah, no, you have a very interesting problem over here. Okay, this is totally possible. Let me answer a couple more questions, and then we'll come back to this one. I don't want not answer anyone else's questions. But Wei Hung, stick around. I do want to answer this question. Shilish Pokerel. Oh, I'm just using the default Apple Magic Keyboard, or not Magic Keyboard. I think this is just their regular keyboard. This is just whatever my company gave me. I'm planning on buying one of those Logitech ones, only because I have 2 computers that I like to switch between, and it would be very nice to be able to easily switch between them. Happy Thursday, Paolo Spix. By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe this video if you're interested in what we're doing over here. We're almost at 50,000 views. So a lot of you were here back when I had 10,000 or 50,000 subscribers. A lot of you were here back when I had 10,000 subscribers. So thanks for sticking around on the journey. And I think we actually might, depending, so it gives me different numbers on mobile versus desktop as to how many subscribers I have. Based on my mobile numbers, I should be passing 50,000 sometime today. So let's see if that happens. Okay, so 098 saw, that's why it's in that notation. Another question about the data frame. Can you show what it would look like if the values in column 2 were higher than 2? Yeah, so like column 2 were higher than 2. What do you mean by higher than 2? So like, make this like that. So something like that. 098 saw. Siddharth, how do you answer this interview question? Do you have any experience connecting data from multiple sources? Well, do you? If you have the experience, and you'll say something along the lines of like, oh yeah, I had this project. Okay, so I'll give you guys an actual example of it. Oh yeah, I had this project where we needed to bring in sales data from the sales associates every single day, and they updated the data in those Excel spreadsheets. So we brought that in using Python, and then we would port that into a SQL database. That way we could combine it all together and run some analyses on it simultaneously. So we would bring in purchasing data from a SQL, and we would bring in sales data from Excel and try and correlate the two things to see, okay, were sales associates selling stuff as they were expected to? So something like that. If you don't have the experience, then I would say something along the lines of, I have experience connecting singular data sources, but I'm always open to learn, and I would love to, learn how to connect more than one data source. I always say, if you don't have the experience and you don't have something close to the experience that you can kind of like fiddle into an answer that you need, then I would highly recommend just saying something along the lines of like, oh, but I'm eager to learn. Suraj Parikh, yes, this video will be saved. Hello, MyDAO. What is the best tool for EDA? Also, would you like to... Oh, hey, thank you so much, Yavi Aniki. Your videos have been inspiring for me. Thank you for sharing what you do. Of course, man. Thank you so much. I always thought it was interesting that... so it's called the Mexican peso, right? But they use the dollar sign. I thought they would use some like... You guys ever played Pokemon where they have like the P with the 2 dashes on it? I thought they would have made up a symbol for that. But I remember going to Mexico 2 years ago, and it was just so confusing because they use a dollar sign for everything, right? So I was just like, wow, everything is so expensive. Like, you just naturally, like, because I live in America, I just like assume everything is like written in like dollars. So I just thought everything was very, very expensive, but nope. So Anubhav Tawari, what is the best tool for EDA? Also would like to ask what kind of tasks should I expect joining a company as a data analyst? Best tool for EDA, it really depends on the scale of data you're talking about. I've used Python and Alteryx for basically all of my EDA. And I guess I've used SQL as well. I guess you could consider that as part of my EDA toolkit as well. I've heard Dell Boomi is a great tool for EDA too. So there's almost never a best tool for anything. There are a set of tools that are good enough, is what I would call them. There's maybe one tool that's like, oh, this really works really well. But that's rarely the case. But usually what you'll have a set of tools that like will get the job done reasonably well. So it's kind of like R versus Python, right? Like in most data science applications, both tools will get the job done reasonably well. There isn't like a best tool for the job. What kind of task should I expect joining the company as a data analyst? The first couple of weeks to months, you should just be soaking in as much information as you can about the company itself. Learn what the company actually sells and how the product moves from wherever it's produced to the customer. And if it's a services company, learn what's the value prop of the services that your company provides. Because at the end of the day, as a data analyst, you're supposed to take numbers and associate them with the business somehow, you know? As far as what tasks you should expect, I think dashboard building is usually a very common one. Cater, what skills do you need to be a data analyst? Is it mostly SQL, Excel, keep writing? So I would say I have a great video. So I'm actually getting to a point where I have a video that discusses almost every thing you could need to know about analytics. So I have a video over here called What is a Data Analyst? So I recommend watching this one. I will link it in the chat. And by watching that, you will learn what a data analyst does. Kadisha Bryan, great to see you. Stats Daddy. Python won't allow you to dominate R's for big brain alphas. Yes, but little do you know, I'm actually a Sigma, and that's why I use Python. Okay, 098 saw. Can you... Oh, hey, what's up, Fighter Jet? Yeah, Plotly is really, really good. Do you go over any of the Plotly basics in your videos? I actually don't. I probably should. I love Plotly. It's a lot better than Matplotlib, in my opinion. It's just straight up better. Can you show how to make another column which looks at the data in column 2? I want the new column to say true when the numbers within column 2 are greater than or equal to 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. That I can do very easily. So we'll create a new column called test, create a new column called column 5. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals, excuse me. Let's say, I think we can just do column, test column underscore 2. And then we can probably just do greater than 2. I think you can just do that. Yep, there you go. So we're referencing the data frame. We're creating a new column, column 5. And then we're looking at column 2 from the data frame and just saying greater than 2. That's how I would recommend doing it. Hopefully that answers your question. Cater, what skills do you need to be... Oh, I already answered that one. Hyun Nguyen, is self-study for data analysis good enough to get a job taking Coursera Microsoft courses because I switched from my unrelated industry to become a data analyst? Yeah, so Hyun, I don't know if you're aware, I'm a completely self-taught data analyst. I have no formal education in what I do right now. I have a degree in chemistry. So I 100% am a proponent of the self-study method of learning. One, you'll save tons of money. College is very, very expensive. And at least in the US, college is way more expensive than the value you obtain from it. But, you know, unfortunately, it's something that, like, you know, a lot of people, I'd say, still need. That being said, yes, you can totally self-study. Fata Denise, hi, I am new to machine learning project and want to do a project. Do you have any tips for finding and doing a project? I always say go find a data set you're particularly interested in. Go to Kaggle.com. They have tons of data sets over there. And see, here's the thing. Doing a machine learning project is not, like, going at it from that angle is most likely not going to create an amazing project. What you want to do is you want to find a data set and start asking questions. And eventually, when you ask enough questions, one of those questions will be most properly answered through machine learning, you know? It's kind of like saying, like, I want to learn how to use a hammer, so I'm going to find projects where I use a hammer. I mean, you could do that. What would probably make more sense is finding just generalized projects where you're like, okay, I might be able to use a hammer here, going forward and using it. And then kind of from there, just, what do you call it? Eventually you'll run into a case where you use machine learning. Yeah, that's the way I'd go for it. Hello, Vibov. Great to see you. Great to see you. My old roommate in college, his name was actually Vibov. I had 2. Do you make interactive dashboards or apps with Python Dash for visualizations or only platforms like Tableau? So I actually use both. I use Tableau for a lot of the stuff I hand off to business customers, but whenever I need, one of the biggest, I mean, I'm just going to say it, I think just like the biggest like misses with Tableau is that it doesn't easily allow you to absorb input from a customer, from a client, or from a stakeholder. So if they want to like upload a CSV, if they want to insert their own data or something like that, it doesn't easily allow you to do that. And the reason I call that a miss is because, I mean, it sounds like a whole, like, Tableau as a company just seems so stuck in this like BI mentality of like, oh, we are a BI tool, that they're not willing to like quickly iterate and explore how their tool, which is great, could be used for data science. And really, it's really a BI tool. Not saying it's a bad tool, just saying that I've used Tableau for like the better part of 3 to 4 years right now, and it doesn't iterate nearly fast enough to keep up with the market. Power BI iterates way faster. I don't use Power BI because I'm using Mac right now, and like every company I worked at uses Tableau. But I will definitely say Tableau does not iterate as fast as I think they should. Sorry, to answer your question though, I use all of these. Currently at my office, I use Streamlit, and for some of my some of my clients, I use Dash. Although I'm trying to move to Streamlit just because it's so much easier than Dash. Dash is you have to write so much code to get stuff to work, and the biggest benefit with Dash is that you can design things to look exactly the way you want them to look. But it's just so much work, and I find that although it's with Streamlit, you can make something that looks nice with relatively little effort, and I think that's what I like better, because I don't like tweaking a bunch of like UI things. I want to like make things that are very functional. Yeah. And I think I saw something from 098 Saw. Yes, it does. Thanks. I've used this mentorship thing a few times. What are the perks of your Patreon? Hey, so thanks so much for asking. So for anyone that's curious, the number one thing the Patreon does is it supports the content I make over here. It allows me to keep making this content and make more of it as time goes on. I haven't been making much content over the last 2 weeks because I've been moving, but now that I've like moved and I have my setup and everything, there's going to be a lot more content coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. I have a video coming out this Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. But outside of that, you get access to my Discord, and you can contact me directly through Patreon. I tell people to like hit me up on like Twitter and Instagram too. I get way too many messages to answer all of them, so for that I only answer like questions that are particularly interesting to me, quite honestly. But if you ask me something on my Patreon or Discord, I will answer it. I answer all questions on those. So that's probably the biggest benefit right now. And if you have ever watched my videos on, like, I do a lot of courses. So let's see. So if you look over here, I have these practical statistics videos. So there's one over there, one over there, one over there, and then I have these hands-on machine learning courses. That's another 9 videos over there. For all of those videos, basically stuff that I'm learning myself, and then I kind of like make my own notes and distribute them. You get the notes attached with those videos. Now, that being said, you can watch the videos and you'll watch me go through the notes, but if you join the Patreon, you get the actual notes themselves. You can create a PDF of them, mark them up, change them up as much as you want. So, yep. Those are what the benefits are. Hey, Shashank, is Snaplogic a good tool to learn? I actually don't know what Snaplogic is. Let us see. Oh yeah, no, I'm not really sure what this is. So sorry, I can't comment on that. Is data analyst worth it in India in 2021? So I can't answer any questions about India specifically, because I don't live in India. I live in the United States, and so and I've never worked in India, so that's not a question I'm like qualified to answer. That being said, I think the general profession of data analysts are like it's a great profession to be in. I will say, if you are a data analyst, make sure you upskill quickly. I've met a lot of data analysts that don't upskill quickly, and they get just bogged down in a lot of BI work and a lot of like very basic data analyst work, which isn't bad. The only problem is those skills are getting easier and easier to learn, and more than easier to learn, those skills are becoming more expected for people to just figure out quickly, like Tableau, basic SQL, stuff like that. And so the market value of those skills is going down. So I would say if you join the world of analytics, don't forget to upskill rapidly, because you don't want to be caught in a position where you just don't have the skills that warrant a high salary. Because at the end of the day, unless you're doing charity work with your data analysis. So you like work for like a charity of some kind. I think we'd all be happier with more money. Obviously, if you work for a nonprofit, I'm not sure I could say that you would be happier with more money because it's a nonprofit. But it's great work that people that work in nonprofits are doing. Sridhar Koka, what do you think of Zillow messing up due to bad ML models? I think it's actually kind of hilarious. So for anyone that's not aware, I went through the house buying process about a year ago. And here's the thing. In the United States, there are a lot of parties involved in buying a house. And honestly, I don't believe all of them add value. I really don't. I think actually most of them need to be extracted out of the equation. And I would love to see a software company, a technology company, come in and really render a lot of those jobs obsolete, only because there is a lot of money just sloshing around in real estate. And then whenever you buy a house, the actual cost of the house is not what you pay for it, because there are 4 different parties that need to extract some value from your transaction. So, and there's nothing personal with anyone. I have no personal issue with anyone. I was lucky enough to deal with a bunch of solid actors when I was buying my house. That being said, I would love to see a company come in and just kind of take over the space, or a couple of companies come in and kind of take over the space and use technology to really abstract away a lot of that. That being said, Zillow really approached it in a dumb manner in that their iBuyers, I think it stands for institutional buyer, but their iBuyers or maybe it stands for internet buyer, I don't know. But basically, they didn't understand that real estate is a hyper-localized market. You could go, here's a great example of it. In the United States, there's been this trend in the last couple of decades where rich people, upper middle class people will work as hard as they can to ensure that their school districts are as small as possible. That way they don't have to send their kids to school with less fortunate people. It's a whole social issue with the way school districting works out in the US. Basically, the biggest problem with that is that it does not provide a public service, which is education, equally to all people. It's kind of like defense is a public service. Like the U.S. military defends me. That's a public service, and as long as I'm within the borders of the United States, they will defend me equally as they will defend basically anyone else in the country. That's a public service that is in that aspect handled well. But schooling is not at all handled like that. And what happens is you'll have these upper middle class people and upper class people that will make these smaller and smaller school districts that basically only encompass people within their tax bracket. That way their property taxes can go to funding their school. And you'll find these public schools with just ridiculous amenities. And it's wait, this does not look like a public school at all. Long story short, the point I'm making by that is that a difference of 30 feet, a house being 30 feet in one direction versus another direction, can change the school district that it's in, which can drastically change the value of the house. And that's kind of the problem with a national buyer coming in and trying to kind of standardize this whole process. Zillow, they have the best data, and they have school district data and stuff like that too. I'm not saying they don't have that, but there's some forms of data that real estate is one of those things where you need to use AI kind of to simplify the problem and then use a real person to make the final decision, in my opinion, only because it's so localized and you need to go look at the property. You need to make sure that the neighbors are solid. And that's kind of where scaling it becomes very, very difficult. So I think, I think that it's funny that they failed. It's unfortunate because I do want to see someone succeed in that space, but they weren't going to succeed the way they handled it. Can you please do a video of EDA using R? Yeah, I totally could. Gaivsky Spy. Hello. Hey, hello, Moti Vivia from Kenya. I got another 10 minutes, guys. All right. Linux lover. Oh, wait, sorry. Hussam Kamal. Just landed my first job as a marketing data analyst. Congratulations. Got imposter syndrome. Did you ever have that at the start of your career? How can you overcome this? I have imposter syndrome today. I think I don't really know how to overcome imposter syndrome. I think some people probably have better videos than I do on overcoming it. I would say that here's what I always say. At the end of the day, companies, at least in the United States, it's for corporate white collar employees. It is not easy to fire people. Broadly speaking, like I'm sure you could find examples of like companies just like, why, like, mass firing people, but it's when you hire someone on, the salary is not all you're paying for that employee. You're paying an extra 30% for their health care, for their 401k, all this stuff. It's why contractors are so popular, because you don't have to pay for any of that stuff with them. But if you're a full-time employee, a W-2, there's a 30% extra charge to getting you in that company. And then I've also heard that it costs almost an entire, it can potentially cost an entire salary's worth in order to actually like hire someone. Like all the people that are involved in that process, all the lost productivity time in interviewing that person. Basically, people are very, very expensive. So if a company went out on and they always go out on a limb, right? Because you can't know everything about a candidate. If a company went out on a limb and hired you, it means that they have every confidence that you're going to do your job very well. And in most cases, they have every incentive to invest to make sure that you do your job well. Now, again, this is an optimistic view, because this is like, I've been lucky enough to have like very solid bosses my entire time in corporate America. Like, I know bad bosses exist. I know that, bad companies exist. But broadly speaking, it is so expensive to hire and maintain employees that there is no incentive to hire someone who can't do the job. So that's kind of what I tell myself whenever I get imposter syndrome. I'm like, I was hired here to do a certain job, and if I can't do it well, it is much more, they have a much greater incentive to give me the tools I need and the support I need to accomplish this task well than to go hire someone else, because hiring people is so expensive. So, Hussam Kamal, I hope I answered your question relatively well. Linux Lover, I have 4 years of experience in tech support and I want to switch my domain to data analyst. What advice would you give? And also, what are the skills that I should learn to stand out from the crowd? So Linux Lover, go ahead and check out that video that I sent over a little bit after your question. I have a link in the comment section over here. And make sure you go ahead and check out that video. That'll give you all the information you need on becoming a data analyst. As far as standing out from the crowd, go ahead and draw. The only way to stand out from the crowd, in my opinion, there are two ways to do it. Either you're so elite, you're so good at what you do that people notice. Like, you're like a top tier data analyst. You know every language. You know backwards and forwards, stuff like that. Or you draw from your personal experience and you start talking about how you're a unique person. And so if I were you, go ahead and see how you can like fold your tech support experience and talk about how that actually makes you qualified to be a data analyst. At the end of the day, one of the major problems data analysts have is that they're so focused on the numbers, they sometimes forget about the business. They sometimes forget about what we're actually supposed to be improving, the real stuff, right? As a tech support guy, I've been working with real people solving real problems for the better part of, 5, 10 years, whatever. 4 years, for the better part of 4 years. And therefore, I always have the customer in mind. I always have the final customer in mind. That's how I would stick out if I were you. I think there's two ways to stick out. You're either that elite or you draw from personal experience. Because your personal experience is fairly unique to yourself. So, of course. Hopefully that's just a generalized good answer for people that have imposter syndrome. You know what? That's actually a good idea for a YouTube short. That is a good idea for a YouTube short. YouTube short dealing with imposter syndrome. People are expensive. Company has no incentive to hire unqualified candidates. Sweet, that is going to be a YouTube short. Great video idea right there. All right. Jahanvi Narang, I work at Mu Sigma. Mu Sigma or 2 Sigma? Because if you're working at 2 Sigma, wow, we need to talk. Let's see. Mu Sigma, Decision Sciences. Okay, cool. Okay, Mu Sigma. Indian decision sciences firm. Okay, cool. Bangalore. Oh, I thought it was saying this was headquartered in somewhere called Bangalore in Illinois. Interesting. Cool stuff. How well does a data scientist pay? If you're talking about the Indian market, I can't answer that question. I have no knowledge of how the Indian market pays. My basic understanding is that Indians get paid, like in India, get paid 1/6 of what we do in the U.S. That's my basic understanding. Anyone that has experience in both markets, let me know. My understanding is that if you're making $120,000 in the United States, you'll make about $20,000 in India for similar work. But feel free to correct me over there. I have literally zero idea. CF Garcia, great to see you. Hi, do you use Matplotlib libraries a lot in your current job? Yeah, I'd say I do. Matplotlib, the great thing about it is that it's integrated directly into Pandas, so I use it to just like quickly make graphs on stuff. But if I ever need to do anything more complex, I always use Plotly or Tableau. All right, let me go back to answering questions in the order they came in. So guys, I'm going to be leaving in about 5 minutes. If you want me to answer your question immediately, feel free to send a super chat. Any super chats, I answer those questions instantly, and it's a great way to support the channel. So thank you so much for Yavi Aniki for sending that super chat over there. Okay, add Linode too ugly. I started learning data analytics at 27 years old. Is it too old to jump into the industry as a junior data analyst at that age? No, I don't think at all. There's a guy over here who I think he's in his 50s and he's jumping into the space. So no, I don't think you're too old at all. I think you are a great age. I'm 26 years old. I'll be 27 in January. I'm a senior right now, but like I got here in like 2 years and some change, 3 years, something like that. Yeah, 2 years and some change, I think. So the point being that say you did exactly what I did, right? Like you become a junior data analyst in like, a couple of months. And then like 2 years later, you're a senior. Being a senior in your late 30s to, late 20s to early 30s is not at all bad. That's a solid career trajectory. And the thing is, it's one of those fields like once you get like that foothold or that handhold on the industry, it becomes significantly easier to like advance within it. So, no, at any age, you can do anything you want in life, in my opinion. Unless you have like family commitments, like, you have to take care of a kid. You can't go like spend all your days volunteering. You got to go make money. But, outside of just like obvious stuff like that, I think, at any time in your life, if you want to do anything, just go do it. I spent 4 years pursuing a degree I didn't care about. Biggest mistake of my life. Easily the absolute biggest mistake of my life was doing that. Spent way too much money and wasted way too much time pursuing a degree I did not care about. And so I always try and because it's the biggest mistake of my life, I always try and encourage people to pursue what they want to today if they can, Let's see. Devarsh Modi. Hey Shashank, I'm in my second semester of a postgrad diploma in data analytics for business. Can you suggest something to do before my course ends and I'll get in the field? Get an internship. Get an internship 100%. Do everything you can to get an internship. An internship oh my God, it is so helpful if you want to get a job. One of the reasons I wasn't able to get a job after college for a while is because I didn't have any relevant internships. So 1000% get an internship. Misbah Bilgili, is it possible to become a data scientist without a master's degree and without good grades with a degree in comp sci? I think so. I think you're probably not going to, and you're probably not going to be able to enter directly as a data scientist. Some people on the channel that like when they come on these live streams, they like become data scientists like just with a bachelor's degree, like right out of college. Which power to them if they're able to do that. I've found very few jobs at major companies that'll allow you to do that like right out of college, like your bachelor's. Unless it's like the Facebook data scientist where like Facebook has like 3 different data scientists and like one of their data scientists is actually more of a data analyst role. But I think you can join as like a data analyst and work your way up from there. That's what I'm planning on doing. I'm hoping to become a data scientist by July of next year at my company. Let's see. Oh, hey, you're working, Sudhir, you're working in the automobile industry. I'm a huge car guy. What company do you work for? Jahanvi Narang, happy to collaborate with you. Yeah, do you have a YouTube channel or something, Jahanvi? How can Indians get into the U.S. market for data scientist role? So my cousins, all of my cousins who came to the U.S., they basically did it by getting a master's degree here. So, you're paying this massive tax to get like a U.S. master's degree. And I called it massive tax because literally none of them actually use their degrees. Only one of them does. One of my cousins is a software engineer, and he got a comp sci degree. But one of my cousins has a comp sci degree and does program management. He does program management now. It kind of goes back to my whole thing about like education, like higher education. Just I have my opinions on it. Hero Motor Corp. Oh, it used to be Hero Honda, right? Yeah, I remember. They do the motorcycles in India. All right, let's see if I can answer. I can probably answer one or two more questions. Kadisha, in your consulting work, do you provide just analytics services? So actually, the funny thing is I actually do a lot more back-end work than I do analytics. So I don't know if I call it unfortunate, but my career has kind of been like in the trajectory of doing a lot of back-end work, honestly. I'm really trying to like pivot out of it and do like more hardcore analytics work, but like my own skill set is very much like biased towards back-end work. And so I do a lot more back-end work for my clients than I do like analytics work. But I kind of see Upwork as just, it's just for the extra cash. And obviously I pick up skills along the way too, but it really is just for the extra cash. I'm not like trying to pivot my career using Upwork. Simfiwe. Hi, Shashank. Where can I get Tableau to practice? I'm using a Mac from South Africa. Tableau Public. Go to tableau.com, type in Tableau Public, and it's a free version of Tableau that you can use. Regard. Hey, Shashank, weird question, but how do you deal with eye strain? I can barely use my laptop on a decent brightness nowadays, and I have blue light blocking glasses. Any advice? That's a tough one. So I actually spend a lot of time calibrating my display to give as little strain to my eyes as possible. Blue light glasses are another great way to do it. Really, the only advice I could give is like just get away from the computer. Like go take a walk. Take breaks every 30 minutes to an hour. I would just go take a 2-minute break, go do something. Go drink a glass of water or something. Literally anything would be helpful. So that's kind of the way what I would recommend. All right, guys, I can maybe answer one more question. Of course. Hey, so everyone, hey, Katie Tan, great to see you. Last time you came, yeah, you were, I do remember. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the new job. I remember I think you commented it on a video. So for anyone not aware, Katie was interviewing at a Big Four accounting company. I believe it was accounting. Because, when you say Big Four, depending on what you're talking about, like there's Big Four banks, there's Big Four accounting, there's Big Four there's Big Three consulting. But yeah, she did Big Four accounting, I believe, and you got your job. So congratulations. I do have to go right now, but be sure to join the live stream one time and we can definitely talk about how you got your job. I do apologize. My live stream is normally at 11 Eastern. But today I have a meeting right now with a potential channel sponsor. So be on the lookout for these guys. Right now they're based in Europe. So I have to meet them right now. Because otherwise it's not their work day. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers. We're almost there. A lot of you were on the journey since, before I had 10,000 subscribers. So really thank you guys so much for all the support you've given. I've been able to make a decent income off of this channel recently, and I just love helping you guys. And we're making something we're making a community over here that's actually helping out a lot of people. So what happens is on these live streams, we actually get a lot of people who will answer questions that other people pose. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. Make sure you like that live stream and have a great day.